Welcome, welcome. If you're just joining in, welcome to Calm in the Chaos, Mastering Stress Management. I'm going to give everybody just a couple of minutes to join on in. I know it's 4 o'clock on the dot Eastern Standard Time, so I'm going to give you guys a couple of seconds to join. Dear Stress, we need to talk. Our relationship has been exhausting, unpredictable, and downright unhealthy. I can't keep living like this. You've taken so much from me, my peace, my energy, and my ability to show up as the best version of myself. I've had enough. You're making me sick both physically and mentally. It's clear that we are no good for each other, and it's time I prioritize my well being. From this moment, I choose to part ways with you. I'm taking control of my life, and that means leaving you behind. I have so many hopes and plans for the future, ones that don't involve you. I want to wake up feeling refreshed, tackle my days with a clear mind, and enjoy the moments that matter without your constant interference. Here's to a life free from your grip. I am ready to move on, and I hope to never look back. Sounds like a great idea, right? Unfortunately, stress can be an unavoidable part of our lives. From work deadlines to personal responsibilities, we all experience stress at some point. However, it's not about avoiding stress altogether, but rather learning how to manage it effectively. During our short time together, we'll explore the topic of stress management and provide practical tips and techniques to help you find calm in the chaos. Before we dive into strategies for managing stress, let's first understand exactly what it is. Stress is the body's response to any demand or challenge placed upon us. It triggers a flood of hormones that prepare us for a fight or flight response. While this can be useful in emergency situations, prolonged exposure to stress hormones can have negative and serious consequences. Hello, and welcome again to Calm in the Chaos, a masterclass designed to help you master stress management. I'm Dr. RJ, and I am thrilled that you could join us today. In our fast paced world, executives and professionals like you often find themselves drowning in a sea of responsibilities, deadlines, pressure. Today, you'll develop or discover simple yet effective strategies that will help you manage stress and regain control. By the end of this session, you'll feel more equipped to tackle challenges with a calm and focused mind. Again, I'm Dr. RJ, and I help busy executives optimize their mental health so that they can eliminate excessive stress and maximize time so they can actually love the lives that they've worked so hard to build. So, thank you again for joining me today. I was looking over the list to see who was coming, and I know some of you will join live. I saw some familiar names, so welcome back, and I saw some new names. So, welcome first timers. If this is your first time joining a masterclass. Get out a pencil and paper or your notes section or whatever it is and get ready because you're going to get some easy to implement tips starting right now. So let's jump right into this. Today's masterclass will cover three key strategies: self talk, decluttering your brain, and reframing negative thoughts. All right, I'm going to leave this here for a second for my note takers. Self talk, decluttering your brain, and reframing negative thoughts, or reframing your thoughts. Don't forget to stay until the end. I won't keep you too long, but stay until the end and you'll have an opportunity to ask me anything. So you can ask me in the chat section, and I will, of course, do my best to answer. If there's a question you don't feel comfortable asking, like in a full chat, feel free to DM me on Instagram at AskDrRJ, AskDrRJ. I do check my own DMs and I will answer your questions there as well at the end. So stay until the end. All right, so hopefully you have your pencil and paper, pen and pads, all that stuff ready to roll because we are about to get some skills. All right, so let's talk about self talk. What is self talk? Self talk refers to the internal dialogue that runs through your mind throughout the day. When I talk about self talk, I'll generally say, well, what is the tape playing in your head all day? And I had to remember that I am of age. So, depending on who I'm talking to, I may not be able to say, what's the tape playing, because I'll get like a look like, what do you mean by what's the tape playing? But most of the people I work with are around the same age, and so we all know what a tape player is. What is your tape player saying or playing to you all day long? So this inner dialogue can significantly impact your stress levels, and that's something to think about. Like, it's the inner dialogue that will impact your stress levels. So keep that in mind. What is it that you are saying to yourself? Um, and who taught you to talk to yourself like that? That's something else to think about. Positive self-talk can reduce stress, improve your mood, and make you more productive. I like positive self-talk because it helps me regain a sense of control. Negative self-talk, on the other hand, can increase stress and anxiety, leading to decreased performance and burnout. If you follow me on Instagram and, of course, now TikTok, um, you'll see that I talk about burnout a lot. Burnout is super dangerous. It really interferes with things. And so I want to make sure that we are preventing stress and burnout by any means necessary. Positive self talk is also empowering. However, on the other hand, negative self talk can increase your stress and anxiety, leading to decreased performance, like I just said. So, what do we do about this? Let's talk about some strategies. Strategies are my favorite thing. So when I'm working with my clients, I'm a clinical psychologist and also a therapist, of course. One thing when clients first start working with me, they'll say like, "Okay, I don't want to just sit around and talk," right? And I'm like, "Great, neither do I. Let's get to work." And so part of what we'll do together today is to get to work. I want to give you some strategies that you can walk away with and use like right now. So, stress is just a problem to be solved, not a threat to my survival. I want you to write that down somewhere. Stress is just a problem to be solved, not a threat to my survival. You can also screenshot it, but I want you to write it down somewhere. Make sure you can access it. Um, and then we'll talk about what that means. Okay? Stress is just a problem to be solved, not a threat to my survival. So, earlier when we started this class together, this presentation, we defined what stress is. Often we confuse the difference between stress and a stressor. So, stress is your body's response, a bodily response to a stressor, which is an event. Now, when you think about this, you'll see some people aren't really bothered by certain events and some people are. Let's talk about the airport. Right? So if you are listening to this live, today as we're talking, there was a huge global network thingamajig that happened today that shut a lot of the airlines down, and also like some systems in doctors' offices and other places. It happened early this morning if you're watching live. And I went through my timeline and everybody's freaking out, freaking out, freaking out, like on edge. And on top of that, I had to take my daughter to the airport this morning. She's 16 years old, and it's her first time flying solo, just by herself. So I had to take her to the airport this morning. And you can imagine, y'all, like what could have been going through my mind or what was going through my mind. And I had to actually say this to myself that when she said her flight was delayed 5 hours, right? Stress is just a problem to be solved, not a threat to my survival. Okay. And when you think about solving problems or problem solving, all of you are highly capable of solving complex problems. You just have to remind yourself of that. So you take a deep breath and say, okay, this is a problem to be solved. What can I do? What is in my control? So, yes, this is a real life strategy, not just something that we do for one day or do here and there, but consistently remind yourself that stress is just a problem to be solved and not a threat to your survival. The next thing is to focus on awareness when you're thinking about your self-talk. So awareness, if you're taking notes, you've already written down the three topics we'll be covering. Self-talk, the three strategies: self-talk, decluttering your brain, and reframing negative thoughts. We're now talking about self-talk. The first step to self-talk as it relates to stress is to tell yourself stress is just a problem to be solved, not a threat to my survival. Here are other strategies for improving your self talk. The first is awareness. If I were right in front of you, I'd say, everybody say awareness, and everybody say awareness, right? Awareness. So start by becoming aware of your self talk. Keep a journal or use a note taking app to jot down any thoughts as they occur. Keep track of both your negative and positive thoughts, because you just want to see what's happening. You want to have an idea. You want to increase your insight. That's a goal for a lot of my clients, to just understand what is happening on the inside, like what's really going on. Because often we're so busy, we don't slow down enough to understand what's happening and what's going on. All right, next. Challenge your negative thoughts. Okay? Challenge your negative thoughts. When you catch yourself thinking negatively, I want you to question it. So ask yourself, is this thought true? Is this thought helpful? Okay? Is this thought true? Is this thought helpful? Because often we will have different thoughts or different things going through our mind, and it may not be helpful. Like, is it helpful for me to sit around and worry about things that I can't control? No, it's not helpful, right? Is it true to try to predict something that hasn't happened yet? So think about that. Now, again, if you're taking notes, the first step is, we're talking about self-talk. The first step is telling yourself stress is a problem to be solved and not a threat to my survival. You're going to write that down. The next step is awareness, being aware of your self-talk, and then challenge your negative thoughts. When you catch yourself thinking negatively, question it. All right, question yourself. And then finally, under the strategy of self-talk, you're going to replace the negative with the positive. Transform your negative thoughts into positive affirmations. For example, Instead of saying, I can't handle this, you're going to say, I am capable and will do my best. Now, often when we talk about affirmations, people tend to think, oh, you're just saying these things that aren't true, right? Or you're saying these things, these Pollyannish ideas, saying things that you don't really believe. But that's not how affirmations work. You want to say something that's true, but also positive. So, are you capable and will you do your best? If you're not capable and you're not going to do your best, then that's not an affirmation you would use. But if you are the high performer that I think you are, then that will be an affirmation you can use and a practical way of replacing a negative thought with the positive thought. I want you to take a second and write down a common negative thought that you have. So this is something really personal. Often we have these thoughts of self-doubt, of not being good enough, of people not caring, all these things, and you're not the only one who thinks that about yourself. More people than you realize have these negative thoughts. The point is to be aware of it and to raise your insight, not to judge yourself. And so, non judgmentally, you'll write down a common negative thought that pops up in your head, and then ask yourself, where did that thought come from? Who taught me that? How did I come to this conclusion? And then you're going to reframe it into something that is true. What is true? All right. Let's move on to strategy number two. Declutter your brain. This might be my favorite. I feel like I say things are my favorite all the time, but this may be my favorite. Mental clutter is the accumulation of thoughts, worries, and stresses that occupy your mind and make it difficult to focus. It's like having too many tabs open on your computer. I when I do virtual trainings, I'll say, "All right, y'all, close down all those tabs on your computer because you're slowing down the network." And I joke around and tell everyone, well, this isn't a joke, this is true. I have a 3 tab max um, on my browser. One, because I don't like all those tabs up. It gives me a little bit of anxiety. And two, it's just unnecessary. Now, someone asked, okay, well, what if you're using more than one browser, right? Because that happens. Okay, fine. You can have three on one browser and three on another, but no more than three open at one time. So I'll give you another exercise right now. If you are not watching this on your phone, because if you're, or maybe even if you are watching this on your phone, make sure you don't turn me off though when I give you this exercise. Go through your phone right now. If you have an iPhone, I don't know how the Android apps work. If you have an iPhone, just slide up from the bottom and then go through and close all of your apps, like close everything that's open. And I want you to make a note of how many tabs you had open on your iPhone, on your phone. Make a note of it. And if you are watching from Instagram or watching from Facebook, I'd like you to put it in the comments. How many tabs did you have open? So my max is 3. I don't do as good on my phone. I have to remind myself. But you want to declutter your phone, declutter your computer, declutter your office, declutter your home around you, because all of that can contribute to you decluttering your brain. So let's get more into this. Decluttering your brain can help you gain clarity, improve focus, and reduce stress. It allows you to prioritize what's truly important. So think about all of the thoughts that you have during the day. Like, what if you didn't um, have a way to filter out all of those different thoughts? And often we don't, which is why we feel our brain is cloudy, why we have brain fog, and why we feel exhausted. So that's something to think about. Let's get into some strategies on how to declutter your brain. Brain dump. This really is one of my favorites. I do it all the time. I do it when I'm feeling overwhelmed because I'm like, okay, slow down, stop. What are you really feeling overwhelmed about? And I'll just write every single thing down on a list, on a list, on a list. And what I found out about myself is that I feel overwhelmed when I have too many things to do on my list. Like, okay, I have to schedule a doctor's appointment for my kid, and I got to take somebody here and take somebody there and do all the things. And so that helps me then say, all right, how do you organize yourself? What can you get off of your list within the next 15 minutes? And so I just go through, I'll take 15 minutes and do all of the easy things. Because often we'll have things on our to do list that don't take that long to do. It's like, just go ahead and do it instead of waiting. I remember when my kids first started doing school projects and it would be due like 3 weeks later. And I'm like, just go ahead and do it. Like, you don't know what's going to be happening 3 weeks from now. Just go ahead and do it right now or do it, as soon as you can instead of waiting and having it pile up with all the other things on your brain. So, the first strategy is doing a brain dump. A brain dump is just simply spending 10 minutes writing down everything on your mind. You can do it at night. I recommend at night. Just get it out on paper. Don't filter it. Don't try to organize it when you're getting out. Just dump your brain. The reason I recommend at night is because often when I talk to executives and professionals who have problems sleeping, which is most of you, it's because your mind is racing. It's racing with to-dos, it's racing with what didn't I do, it's racing with what can I do, it's racing with strategies, it's racing with next quarter, it's racing with revenue, like all the things. And you need your rest in order to be productive. So doing a brain dump every night for about 10 minutes will relax you, it'll calm you down, and then it will also remind you, okay, I'm not forgetting these things. They're just over here on this paper temporarily, so I can rest until I can get to them. Next strategy, prioritize your task. Something I've been doing lately, really having a lot of fun with some of my clients, is the priority matrix. And so the Eisenhower matrix is another name for it. There are all types of names. We call it the priority matrix, and you categorize your tasks by urgency and importance. Now, if you already know how to use the Eisenhower matrix, just do that. But let me explain the priority matrix to you really quick. So write all your tasks down, and then you'll have four sections. You will have a delete, that means just take it off. You will have a delay, that means schedule it on your calendar. You'll have a delegate. You know what delegate means already. Get somebody else to do it. And then you'll have a do. By the time you get to the do, then your list should be shorter and more concise, and you can focus on what truly matters. The final strategy for decluttering your brain is mindfulness and meditation. Practicing mindfulness can help you stay present and reduce mental clutter. There are all kinds of apps out there, like there's Headspace, there's Calm, it's like all kinds of things out there that will allow you to do mindfulness. It doesn't have to be really complex. I like to just use my five senses with mindfulness, and I'll take a few deep breaths, cleansing breaths, and focus on what's around me. So use my senses to focus on what's around me. All right. So those are the three strategies for decluttering your brain. If you're just joining, welcome, welcome, welcome. Where you been? You late. So the first, the first topic was self-talk, and one way to improve, or some ways or strategies to improve self-talk: awareness, challenging negative thoughts, and replacing negative thoughts with the positive. Next is decluttering your brain, and the strategies for decluttering your brain is to do a brain dump, prioritize tasks with the priority matrix or the Eisenhower matrix, and do a mindfulness meditation. Write down everything that's on your mind. If you're feeling stressed right now, when we're done with our time together, whether you're watching live or watching a replay, write everything down that you're feeling stressed about. Because again, so when I'm doing this exercise with my clients, I'll say, well, what else? Because they may say one or two things and then more things. And I'll say, well, what else? Well, what else? Well, what else? So I want you to push yourself. Don't censor yourself because more than likely there are things that you're stressed out about that you don't even realize. There are things on your mind that you don't even realize that were on your mind. And so when they're outside of your brain, they're outside of your limbic system where it causes a lot of problems and you move it to your frontal lobe, you move it to where you can do something with it, then that's how you manage stress in a more advanced manner. All righty. Let's keep this thing moving. The next strategy on calming the chaos is to reframe your thoughts. Now, I'm a cognitive behavioral therapist. What that means on my end is that I really believe that our thoughts have a lot to do with our behaviors and our feelings, and that our brain is the primary source of a lot of the chaos and things that are happening. So, cognitive behavioral therapy is generally what I do. I do it in a lot of different ways, but I'm always going to ask, what are you thinking? What are you feeling? Well, then what did you do? Okay. So, what I want you to do today is to think about reframing. Reframing is the process of changing the way you look at a situation to alter its meaning. It's about seeing challenges and opportunities as setbacks as learning experiences. Why reframing matters. Reframing can transform your outlook on life, making you more resilient and less prone to stress. So it's a powerful cognitive tool that helps you adapt to life's challenges. Okay, so I'll repeat that again. Reframing can transform your outlook on life. So it can make you more resilient and less prone to stress. So when you reframe, it doesn't mean that bad things don't happen to you. It doesn't mean that you don't get annoyed. It doesn't mean that frustrating things don't happen. It means that your response to it is just more skillful, right? Um, so think about that. How can you be more skillful? Okay. Actually, take a minute to think about that right now. How can you be more skillful? All right, let's get into some strategy. How to reframe negative thoughts. Earlier, when we were talking about um, self talk, one of the things that you can say is not that I have to, but I get to. This also helps with reframing negative thoughts. So, when you're thinking about tasks that you get to do, it's very different than saying you have to do them. So, I get to work out with a trainer 3 days a week who helps me stay healthy and look fly and all those things instead of, oh, I have to go work out, right? I get to work in a challenging environment where they're testing my patients all day. I get to use my brain in ways that other people may not get to do. I get to drive my kids all around to all their activities instead of I have to. It really changes how you see things if you can focus on gratitude and use I get to instead of I have to. That's a quick strategy. But if you're taking notes, let's talk about how to reframe your negative thoughts. First, identify the thought. So recognize when you're having a negative thought. Often negative thoughts creep up on us. They're like cyclical. And before we know it, we're in a bad mood. And you're like, why am I in a bad mood? That can happen if you're scrolling social media too much, especially now during this current environment that we're in, this current political environment. You can start scrolling social media and reading comments and doing all the things. Then you're in a bad mood and you don't even know why. You're like, wait, what happened? So you want to recognize when you're having a negative thought. Next is analyze the thought. Ask yourself if this thought is rational or if you're catastrophizing. Now, y'all, um, believe it or not, I am the queen of catastrophizing. Like for real. It's not a title I want to claim, right? And maybe I'll say the retired queen of catastrophizing. But I like things to be orderly. I like them to go a certain way. And when they don't, it can feel like the end of the world, right? And it's not the end of the world. So I have to constantly identify my thoughts and analyze them and say, girl, is it that serious? Like, is it really that serious? And so when I have that self talk with myself, it allows me to calm down, step back, look outside of myself and say, it's not that serious. Just figure out what to do. Another thing you can do when you're analyzing your thought is ask yourself, is this a red? And by a red, I mean a problem that's like, that has to be solved right now. Or is this like a yellowish, it's kind of annoying, but it's not going to impact my life in this moment? Or is it even just a green? Like I'm just irritable, hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. So it's getting on my nerves. But you want to analyze the thought and see where it's coming from. So again, if you're taking notes, we're in the last section. You want to identify your thought, analyze your thought, and then replace it with a positive spin. So when I talk about positive spin, remember I'm not talking about like some fairy tale sort of thing. That's not like toxic positivity where everything is smile, sunshine, and rainbows. I mean something realistic. So you might say, so when I think about positive, I think about finding a lesson in the situation. Something I say a lot is, I don't lose. I either win or I learn, right? I don't lose. I don't. I either win or I learn. Now, that learning can be painful. It can be rough. It can be aggravating. It can be all those things, but it's not a loss. It's a learning situation. You can also say to yourself, so instead of thinking, oh, this project is impossible. So you have a project at work, something's going on, you're thinking this project is impossible. You can tell yourself, this project is challenging and also a great opportunity to grow. Something else I work with my clients on are and statements, and it helps them be really, really skillful in dealing with tough and complex situations. So instead of saying this project is impossible, tell yourself this project is challenging and also a great opportunity to grow. Bonus, think of a recent stressful situation and how can you reframe it to see the positive side. Now, for those of you who are listening live or watching live and you might be in the airport or your travel plans have changed or your flights have been canceled and all that, this is a great exercise for you because listen, I mean, it was really tough for me to get my mind together today and get on track and be positive about the situation, instead of like spiraling out of control. So think of a recent stressful situation and reframe it so you can see the positive side, and then share your thought with a friend. Let's keep this thing moving. So I like to give things away. And of course, I have a bonus strategy for you. Now, remember, if you just joined late, stay all the way until the end because I'm going to answer some questions for you. And if you are unable to um, type your questions in, you can DM me on Instagram at AskDrRJ, AskDrRJ. Make sure you're following so that you can get all of the great information that I share and discuss every day. So let's recap. Today, we've explored 3 key strategies to help you manage stress. Self-talk, which is becoming aware of your inner dialogue and transforming negative thoughts into positive affirmations. Declutter your brain, which is using techniques like brain dumps, task prioritization, and mindfulness to clear your mental clutter. And finally, reframe negative thoughts. This is when you change your perspective on challenges to see them as opportunities. So, not I have to, I get to. The bonus strategy, and this is the one that's really going to help you be consistent, put these that you've already learned into practice, and really drive this home, is to seek support and build a network. Every high performer should have access to a therapist, not just any therapist, but a therapist who can help you be consistent with these strategies that you're learning so you can show up as the best version of yourself. I saw this somewhere. I didn't make this up. I saw it and I was like, ooh, stress. Someone trying to repair every situation solo. That really hit me. I'm like, "Oh, yeah," because often we can try to do things on our own. We forget about the sense of community. We've had some sort of trauma, so we don't wanna rely on anybody else because people aren't reliable. That might maybe what we are thinking or feeling. Maybe we grew up in homes where the adults weren't reliable and they weren't trustworthy and they said they were gonna do something and they didn't, and all those things. Maybe you're unreliable. Maybe you don't keep your word to yourself. That's not to make you feel bad, but it's to give you some insight. Like it's difficult to stay on task alone or solo. So part of stress is someone trying to repair every situation solo. You can put that in your story. Just tag me, even though I didn't make it up. You can tag me because you heard it from me. Would you climb Machu Picchu alone? Some of you who have been in my master classes have heard this story in one version or another. I'm going to tell it again because it's one of my favorite stories to tell. I'm a storyteller. I like to um, really drive things home. I love parables, and I was doing a speaking engagement a few weeks ago, and I was like, "Yeah, I love parables like my bestie," and they didn't really get it until the end. But anyhow, would you climb Machu Picchu alone? So a couple of years ago, I went to Peru with my daughter on a school trip. And one of the things we did on that very long trip was we climbed Machu Picchu. And so it's one of the wonders of the world, all the things. You see me sitting there. It's absolutely breathtaking. It looks like a screensaver, or what do you call it? Like a green screen, but it's not. Like I'm actually sitting up there. And because I am like really big on control, I do a lot of preparation. So I looked at all the YouTubes. I talked to my line sister who travels everywhere to help me. I read the book. Oh, I can't think of the name of it now, but anyhow, it's the same book that I read every time I travel somewhere. The name is slipping me, and it'll just randomly come later. But anyhow, so I read the book. I was ready. Like I knew exactly what I needed to do. I was prepared. Similar to like a lot of you who are just reading self-help books, you know what to do, right? But you don't necessarily do it or do it at a high level. So I was prepared. I had all the things I needed. I had my hat you can see on the back, my little fanny pack, my supportive sneakers, my layered clothing. What's tied around my waist is a rain jacket, like a jacket, rain jacket. Because in my reading, I saw that the weather could change quickly. It could just change quickly when you're climbing Machu Picchu. So long story short, all right, this is the story. When we got there, we had a guide to guide us, up and down the mountain, which was an all day thing. And so, of course, I'm feeling prepared. I'm like, I got this, I got this. And the guide, though, had more advanced techniques, like walk on this side and not that side, because that side you can slip off, or walk in this direction because in that direction there's some wildlife that you don't want to encounter, or follow me this way because yesterday there was a rainstorm and if you stand right there it could be like a little mudslide and you slide down and hurt yourself. These are things that would not have been available to me for me to see on YouTube or to read in my book, um, or to learn from people who have been there before, because it's real time, real action, a real expert guiding through. And when you think about your journey, um, when you think about where you want to be, then you want to think about, are you just going by self-help books? Are you going by watching a YouTube or listening to a podcast here and there? And those things are all good, but they're not going to get you to where you need to be in the most effective way. So again, as I was preparing, Lonely Planet is the name of the travel guide that I get every single time I go somewhere. Um, Lonely Planet could not prepare me for that day. The weather changed a bunch of times, and yes, they said it in a book, but the way it happened was just really crazy. weather change, the wind change. It went from cold to hot to rainy to muggy to sunny to cloudy. It was just, and then we had to figure out where to rest, what places were safe to rest. I'm saying all that to say, telling this long story about Machu Picchu. One, it took forever to get there. And again, that can be it can be like that. Like it can take you forever to get to your destination, to figure out what it is you need to be successful. And so my job is to be your guide and to help you skip over all that unnecessary preparation and spinning your wheels and just get you exactly to where you need to be so you can start loving your life. So anyhow, we made it to the top and made it back down safely. I don't ever need to do it again, but it was like really amazing for a lot of different reasons. So you basically have two options at this point. Everybody say two options. You can continue to be exhausted, unfulfilled, stressed out, and feeling like you've worked hard. However, you still don't love your life. Or you can delegate the issue to someone who has actually mastered teaching thousands of executives the art of balance and is the best in the world at it. Y'all know that's me. Like I could beat around the bush and say whatever, but it's me. It's what I do. It's my zone of genius. It's my gift. It's what I um, wake up in the morning excited to do. I was reading a book recently, and he talked about he's a psychologist, and he talked about always knowing he wanted to solve problems, help people. And I remember that. Like I remember as a third grader always wanting to help somebody else solve problems, help them solve complex problems, figure things out that nobody else could, look at things from a different circumstance, being able to see their strengths and see their goodness and their strengths and their own talents when they couldn't even see it themselves. And that reminded me that yes, that's who I am. And so when I say I'm the best in the world at it, it's not like this um I can't think of the word, but anyhow, it's not like this bragging thing. It's just me expressing my gift. It's a gift that was given to me. And if I don't share it with you all, it's like a waste. So let's keep moving. So anyhow, um, schedule a complimentary strategy call right now. Just go to helpmelovemylife.com. This is not like a selling thing or whatever. It's just for me to help you determine if you have a strategy. What do you have going on? Can I give you a couple of tips, just like this masterclass, to help you, or do you need something more? That's all the call is about. So here's how I can help specifically. On the call, we'll help you get total clarity about exactly what you want your life to look like and the exact steps you should take to achieve your goals. If you want us to help you, and if it's a good fit, we may invite you to become one of the new clients we take on this month. All you do is go to helpmelovemylife.com. The sessions are designed to optimize your mental health, increase true productivity, and help you master work life balance. If we work together, we'll expect you to prioritize your mental health, see increased productivity, eliminate burnout, and have improved relationships so that you can actually love the life that you've worked so hard to build. So, yes, this is for anyone who wants to actually enjoy life and not feel like they're always burning the candle at both ends, always stressed out, always tired, um, all the things. And this call will probably be the most valuable 30 to 60 minutes you invest in yourself this year. So, what to do next? You just visit the link below. Go to helpmelovemylife.com, select the time and date for your free strategy call, and there are limited spots available. Now, I saw some of the slots like really far out. If you are serious, I will have my assistant create a space for you because I'm like, oh my gosh, August 20th, like that's too far out when I saw something recently. So if you're really serious about this, I'll create a space for you. So just go to helpmelovemylife.com. If there is no time that you are able to book, then just DM me on Instagram, ask Dr. RJ, ASK DRRJ, and I can give you information so that you can get directly booked with my assistant because this is important to me. Oh, I forgot I had a free gift for you all. I created a guide a few months ago, a guide for busy professionals. So if you text Be Well to 833-451-4258, there are, it's a free guide. It's a guide that I created that gives you tips on how to stay mentally healthy. We know that stress interferes with mental health in a lot of ways, and we want to get this thing at all angles. So thank you for joining Calm in the Chaos. I hope you found today's masterclass valuable, and I look forward to helping you discover how you can actually love your life and be calm in any chaos. Remember that stress is just a problem to be solved, not a threat to your survival, and you are in control. Now I'm going to open to any questions. Let's see how I'm going to do this. Um, all right, if I look on Instagram, just give me a second. If you're on Facebook, then you can just type them in and I can see them here. If you are on Instagram, let's see. I was just looking to see if I can see it there too. Yep, I can see it there too. So you're welcome to ask questions. I understand that people may not like to ask questions like in public. So you can also DM me at Ask Dr. RJ, AskDrRJ. If you're watching this later or watching the replay, just shoot me an email. It's askdrrj at askdrrj.com. Just put in the subject line question for masterclass. I'll also answer it that way. So you can send me an email. I'm not a fan of email, y'all. So listen, if you send me an email, think of it like snail mail, or think of it as slow as the Palmetto, Georgia post office is. Like that's probably how slow it's going to be. But I will eventually get to it. So no questions. All right, let's keep this thing moving. That's it. This was quick. I did it in under, yay. In my mind, I said 45 minutes. So it's 47 minutes. So great, great, great. Anyhow, let me know what you loved about our time together. Let me know, give me some feedback. Just hit me up on socials. Let me know what you love. Let me know what you want to hear about next. Let me know what you want to talk about or what's been bothering you, all the things. Because again, it really is important to me that we eliminate stress, anxiety, and burnout together. Okay, y'all. Oh, don't forget about my YouTube channel as well. That's everything. Y'all have a great day. Thank you for joining.